Hello and welcome back to Dragon Army Books. My name is Dustin, and although we're in 2021, we're still taking just a couple of days to look back into 2020. This is kind of one of my final wrap-up videos of the year. About halfway through the year, I reflected on the first set of books that I read in 2020 and ranked them. And here I am coming back to that ranking list. I'm going to make a few adjustments and then flood in all of the books that I read in the second half of the year to see where all of those line up. All right, we're going to need to move fairly quickly because there are a lot of books to get through, and I know that these videos can take long, so we're not doing reviews here. I'm going to try to remember, remark on, and then place it down. Here we're looking at the books from the first half of the year. Many of these I didn't even remember that I had read this year. Do we need to make any changes? I do feel like I'm being very liberal by allowing some of those to be at the top. Maybe not some of those. So that's the first Hunger Games. Those definitely deserve to be there, as well as Bright We Burn. The Alchemist is probably not. I'm going to throw that at the top of the A category. I feel like we're going to have a lot in this A category. Maybe not even in the top of. Alchemist is losing spots quickly. All right, so that's probably about right for The Alchemist. Anything else that we need to make some adjustments on? I Am Legend. It was good because of the conclusion. Honestly, I'm going to drop Crescent City just a little bit lower. I don't remember even which one that I liked. I liked Crescent City more than Chosen Ones for sure. Man, it's hard for me because so many of these books are so different from one another to place like Crescent City, Children of Blood and Bone, even before they are hanged under the witches. But again, we're working with different materials, so we just have to do that. And then the rest look fine for now. Okay. So we're going to go in order of books that I read, starting in, what was it, about July. Starting in July with White Sands, number 3, the conclusion to the White Sands graphic novel series by Brandon Sanderson, and it is garbage. LOL, garbage. Trash, White Sand. Let's see. It's probably, admittedly, not as bad as that. It's definitely the worst of the White Sands bunch. Just garbage. I love Brandon Sanderson, but I do not love White Sands, and you ended it in the worst way possible. All right, A Thief Among the Trees is the first graphic novel by Saba Tahir in the Ember verse. It is good. It is not as good as any of the Ember books, which we'll be getting to shortly. It's a prequel graphic novel. Where do you land? In the A category for sure. You're above. Man, this is just a weird, tough thing to do, and I'm gonna quit saying that, or I will be saying it for the rest of this video. I'm going to put you right under. I feel like that feels good for now. You're solidly on the A tier, which is now a double-lined tier, and then we move on to the Hod King, which for now is it's the penultimate novel in the series by Josiah Bancroft on Sinlin Ascends, the Books of Babel series, and this has been my favorite of the series so far. Even more than Sinlin Ascends. It's not S tier. I'm probably just going to stick it there. The way that Bancroft is working with his characters at this point is so remarkable. I absolutely love the character work there. We're going to move into this graphic novel called Kindred. It's gripping. It's not one that I can say that I enjoyed because of the subject matter that is being handled. It is still absolutely remarkable, though. I'm going to place it, and it is the graphic novel, so it's not even the full telling of. I think I'm going to place it above I Am Legend. The Reckless Oath We Made. That's the night. That story. I'm going to place it there for now. Graphic novels are great, wonderful medium, but you can't tell the fullest stories with them. And then we've got Marvels, which was one of the best superhero graphic novels I've ever read. Incredibly illustrated, not told from the perspective, superhero's perspective, but told through just a journalist's perspective, I believe, if I can recall that correctly, and seeing the corruption of the world around him, and as these heroes come in, and are they truly heroes if they're changing what it means to be human? Oh my goodness, so many good things with Marvels. Absolutely loved this graphic novel, and it is a larger one than Kindred, so you can tell more of a story there. So I'm definitely moving this up in the S tier. It is the top graphic novel so far out of this list. I enjoyed it a little bit less than The Alchemist. That looks like a fair position for me. We're moving into a couple classics now with A Clockwork Orange. Every once in a while, I get the desire to read some classics that I missed in school or that I have forgotten and needed to come back to. I never read A Clockwork Orange. I've never even watched A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick, and so I was finally able to read A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess, and I enjoyed it. It was good. It's not my favorite, and I honestly don't even put it in the A category. It was a quick read. Loved the language. It's brutal, a lot more brutal than I would have expected. I did like it better than Wonder, but I did not like it better than The Blade itself. That's where it is. Another classic is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes. This one I hadn't read either, and it broke my little heart. It's in the A tier because it was remarkable. Love the story, gripping, sad, right there. Under the reckless oath we made. Let's see. That feels all right. And then we went into a graphic novel series that I knew nothing about. There's only 2 volumes out of it so far. This one's The Old Guard, Opening Fire, and it's really cool. It's not the best of the best. Like, it's not going to go in my favorite of graphic novels, but it's a really cool, immortal storytelling. I believe they did a mini series, or they did a series, or are doing a series on Netflix or something. And it's. I thought this was done really well. Again, not the best of the best, but great. It's going to be in the B tier. Where though? I am probably throwing this. I enjoyed it more than that. I think that is solid. Still not as good as those 3. Does Marvelous Land of Oz deserve to be there? No. Marvelous Land of Oz is losing some of its positioning as well. That feels a little bit more. Sorry, I needed to put those 2 books back up there. Then we have Jurassic Park, the book, which is not as good as the movie. How often does one say that the book is not as good as the movie? Not often. Although it was good. It sets it up really, really well, and then it becomes very, very boring for some reason. It was the weirdest experience for me. It's going to be the first one out of this second half of the year that falls into the C category, in the C tier. I don't think I put any from this half of the year here yet. Where though? There? Yeah. So that's another classic that we're sticking there. Above the Testaments, didn't love that as an adaptation. Didn't need to be a sequel. It was fine. Before They Are Hanged was my first entry into... Was that the first one? No. The Blade itself was the first one, and then Before They Are Hanged. And this one was just slow. But still, after finishing that series, I love that one. The Old Guard Part 2. This is the second one, Force Multiplied. And I believe that I enjoyed it even more than the first one. The stakes rise. Still going to be B. I like it there. I think that makes the most sense. The Princess Bride. I'd only ever seen the movie, never read the book, heard that the book was just as good as the movie. Really, the movie is the book. They were so faithful with recreating it and casted it so well. This might be one of those instances where the movie is just as good, if not better than the book. But the book is phenomenal. The book was done remarkably well. The humor is great. The way that it's written, I hadn't seen that in any book before. And so I loved this. It's going to not be, I don't think it's, is it S tier? It is S tier. In fact, I'm just going to leave it there at the bottom of S tier for now. It's remarkable. If you haven't read it, go and do so. I read some really good graphic novels this year, including Batman: The Killing Joke. This is long-standing fan favorite for superheroes and the Batman universe. This one was by Alan Moore, and I had seen the animated short, what was it, but the story is incredible, and it gives a really dark glimpse into the Joker and his mind, and really it's a Joker origin story is what it was. And we love we love origin stories for a reason. I'm still not gonna put it in S tier. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Did I love it more than Marvel's? That's the conversation that I need to have right now. It's a different experience. I did. And I loved it more than Alchemist. Still not as much as Catching Fire. That is where The Killing Joke goes for now. And then Last Argument of Kings. This is the third book in the First Law trilogy, and it's what changed my mind about this series. I respected the series. I understood, but I didn't understand what Joe Abercrombie was trying to do until I finished this book and realized the entire story is about the characters. It is about Dogman and Jezreel, and about my gosh, just all of these other characters that are the characters that that were being built out from the very beginning. Rather than talking about it now, let me just place The Last Argument of Kings. That was my favorite of the series, so it's definitely above Before They Are Hanged, above The Blade itself. It is in the A tier. It is how you complete a series, by the way. So I'm going to put it up here. Catching Fire. Do I split those two? No. We just put it at the top of the A tier, boys and girls. I don't know if I stand by that, but I remember this changing my entire perception. The lives that were taken and the story that was built out. I'm already talking about it too much. And then we get to All-Star Superman. So I was going through, as you can see what was happening. I wanted to find the best Batman graphic novel that I hadn't read, and now the best Superman graphic novel that I haven't read. Superman's not typically my favorite superhero and he's still not. This graphic novel was okay, but it was nothing to write home about. Let's see. I need to find another graphic novel for reference. Do I have any here? Yeah, I mean, Mouse Guard is there. What's up here? Yeah, it's under the Old Guard series. It's probably going to be here in the B tier. No, I didn't like it as much. It's going to be top of C tier. Not even top of C tier. There it is. No. It's dropping, man. I'm gonna put it there for now. It's beautifully illustrated. I can say that. And then I got an early release. So this is just a little kind of kids book about a seeing eye dog that had gone blind and then was trying to rediscover his purpose as he was trying to find his way home. It's kind of really, really, really adorable. But it's in a different category altogether. You know, it is a graphic novel. It is for kids. So keep that in mind. It's definitely not S, but I would say it's in the A tier. Bottom of A tier. That's where we're going to put it for now, which means that it's really, really good. And then I also got an early access release of this Strange Skies Over East Berlin, which sucked. Oh, yeah. It was bad. Is it in D? Maybe. There's nothing special about it, or is it bottom of C? I'm going to put it bottom of C for now. Sounds like it could be a cool premise, but it wasn't. Kings of the Wild. Nicholas Eames. He wrote an incredible series called The Band and is still writing it. Kings of the Wild, and then we'll see it later, Bloody Rose. And Kings of the Wild was such a fun, fresh, new experience. Although And I think I liked Kings of the Wild more than Bloody Rose. It's not S tier. There's still stuff that he is working on and growing in as an author. But the story that he told is absolutely incredible. I probably didn't like it as much as my first read of Sinless Sins, not as much as Catching Fire. That's where I'm going to place it for now, kind of near the top of the A tier. And then we started doing an online graphic novel called Vatu. This first set volume is called The Name and the Mark. It's still ongoing. It's cute. It's adorable. I love it for what it is. It's very limited words, but very cute, beautiful illustration. I am going to put this in the A tier as well. Man, my A tier is being flooded. I did enjoy it more than Bear and more than I Am Legend. I personally enjoyed it more than Kindred and Flowers for Algernon, but that is where it is going to lie. And then we started our reread of Ember in the Ashes by Saba Tahir in preparation for the fourth and final book in the series, A Sky Beyond the Storm, which we'll get to because we read the entire series this year again, starting with An Ember in the Ashes, which is one of my favorite in the series. I think it is actually S tier above. That's probably, sorry, I meant to drop it there. Above The Princess Bride. That this is not categorically speaking, this is personally speaking. Above Princess Bride, below Bright We Burn. That feels right. S tier. And then Songbirds and Snakes, right? We wanted to come back to the Hunger Games and we wanted to love it. We were kind of skeptical because, man, instead of giving us another POV that we'd be interested in, you gave us the POV of the villain of the series, Cornelius Snow, and it was interesting to come back to. In fact, a good portion of the book, I liked it and thought, why don't fans like it? And then got to the reasons why fans don't like it. The last part or two of the book is like, it just feels like another book entirely. It doesn't make sense. It's the worst of the Hunger Games trilogy so far, so at least it needs to be here or lower on the B tier. Trying to see where it lands. I didn't hate it. It's not garbage. It's probably top of C. That's where I'm going to put it. Top of C. That's right. That's definitely right. And then we read Paolini's book To Sleep in a Sea of Stars as he came back after 9 years after finishing his Aragon series with a new sci-fi adult epic called To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. Went over my head. There were so many pages, but he knew what he was doing. It was just it was a lot for me. I'm going to put this in the B tier most certainly. I think you could cut out 150 pages here and get an even stronger book. Where it's Wonder was good for what it did. It's a middle grade book, and that's hard to. I'm going to place it right there. I think that's right. The original was a completely unexpected audio experience, audio drama by Brandon Sanderson and Marie. I can't think of it off the top of my head, and it's here by Brandon Sanderson and Mary Robinette Kowal or something. And it is a sci-fi story that it has no other medium. It's not physical or ebook or anything like that. It's only an audio recording, and it was done really well. I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a cool, crisp little story. I read it in a day, listened to it in a day. I would place it in the A tier, but lower A tier. It's going to be there. Most certainly there. Reckless Oath We Made, I feel like, is a gatekeeper right now of like really good and good. Really good on the left side and up over here, and then good on the right side of it. We came to Fireborn, which just has a really cool title and cover, and I wish the book was as good. It wasn't. It was really YA in the worst ways. And so I'm either going to put it at lower B or I'm going to put it up top C. Which should I liked Songbirds and Snakes more, so it's going to have to go into the C tier. I even liked Crescent City more. I even remember Chosen. It's probably going to be right around here. It doesn't need to be before they are hanged, does it? That's where I'm going to place it for now. All right, then we're going to need to scroll just a little bit to get back to our books because we've got so many here. Jade City. I wanted to like it more than I did. A lot of people like this. It's just not what I want in my fantasy. It's kind of like Mafia and Kung Fu is kind of, or Godfather and Kung Fu is what I've said in the past, mixed with a little Jade magic. I want more magic, less politics, but still artfully done book. I'm sure the series only gets better. It's the first in the Greenbone saga by by Fonda Lee, but I didn't love it. I think I still loved it more than Crescent City though. Less than Crescent City, more than Chosen Ones. Yeah. Yeah, that definitely feels right. A Deadly Education, the Scholomance series, the first one, Naomi Novik wanted to like it, didn't like it at all. It is not D. D is trash, by the way. D is no one should read this, and it shouldn't have been. Is it there? No. It's just not my taste. I liked it more than Recursion, actually. I didn't say more than that mouse guard. There it is. Under Poppy War for me, which most of you are going to have much higher on your tier list than I am. James and the Giant Peach. James and his Giant Peach. This is every once in a while with my friend Frank. We read these Roald Dahl books. We read The Witches, which was good, and James and the Giant Peach, which was not. In fact, it's not trash. It is just bad. It's better than A Deadly Education in my book. Then we have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. It was my first V.E. Schwab book to read, and I really, really did enjoy it. Now, Reckless Oath We Made, we're coming back to you. I think it's better. It's one of the ones that I really, really liked and that I'll remember for a long time. I liked it even more than the Orient Express. In fact, that's where I think it's going to fall right now. Really, really good story told there of a girl that made a pact with the devil and now lives forever, but everyone that sees her, knows her, as soon as they turn away from her, forget her until one day. Okay, so that's a really good one. And then we move on to The Mystery Knight, which is the third volume in the graphic novel series, The Tale of Dunk and Egg. It is the prequel series to Game of Thrones, A Song of Ice and Fire, and this was my least liked of the series, unfortunately, but thankfully it's not done yet. So I did not like this one. There are so many books here, my eyes are starting to get crossed. It's going to be in the C tier. Where in the C tier? I liked Jade City more. I liked Before They Are Hanged more. I didn't like Fireborn more. Fireborn is kind of the gatekeeper here. Or is it Jurassic Park? Something in here. Maybe Before They Are Hanged is the guy. I don't know. But that's where this third graphic novel volume is. We're coming back to A Torch Against the Night, which is the second book in the Ember saga. And so I reread it this year and still thought it was remarkable, but didn't love it as much as Ember in the Ashes. I'm just setting this down so I can scroll back up. Don't think it's going into the S tier because it is not. It is going down into the A tier. It was my second favorite so far out of Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night. Don't want to give any other spoilers away yet. I did not like it as much as Sinless Sins. I did not like it as much as Catching Fire or Kings of the Wild, but it is going to fall right in here. I feel that. That is, yeah. That's where Torch Against the Night is going. Still, continuation of the story of Laia and Helene and Elias. It's just been a few days and I can't even remember. Then we did a graphic novel called In that was really, really moving and really, really good. Again, though, so many books in the A tier. I think we're about to go to a third level here, and I don't like that. But that's what we're going to do. So it was below all of those graphic novels that are there. Maybe above the Legends one. No, right under the... it's going to go... I didn't like it as much as the original. Probably there. It was remarkable. It was pretty good if I remember correctly. But you know what graphic novel wasn't? Batman, 100 Greatest Moments, highlights from the history of the Dark Knight. Sounds like it could be cool. Really just going through 100 moments, talking a little bit about it, showing maybe a scene or two from the comic or graphic novel that it was attached to, and talking about its importance. All of that sounds good, but it was done in a really poor way. And so I did enjoy it more than Skies Over East Berlin, Strange Skies, but that's where it's going to fall. It was not good. Bloody Rose is the second book in the banned saga, and it's in many ways it's better than Kings of the Wild, but I didn't love the band as much, the guys as much, the group as much as Saga. I'm going to place it here just to move up. Where is Kings of the Wild? Kings of the Wild is right here. Bloody Rose is going to go into... I'm trying to see. I need to probably place more in the B tier, but Bloody Rose is A. Bloody Rose is A for sure. Bloody Rose is better than those probably there. I think that's where I'm placing Bloody Rose. Still incredible. So many Final Fantasy references, and that really knocks it like up the ladder in my book. I'm going to place it there for now, Bloody Rose. And then Harleen, which is literally the greatest superhero graphic novel that I've ever read. It's another origin story, but this time of Harleen Quinzel, which is, I mean, you know her. And Harleen Medicine Woman, right? Dr. Harleen, whatever. And it is so good. The illustration, the writing, the portrayal of Joker, and the romance that buds in her descent into madness. It is remarkable. So it is better than Marvel's as a graphic novel, better even than Batman the Killing Joke. It's the best superhero graphic novel I've ever read. Do you know what? It's my first graphic novel going into S tier. In fact, I liked it better than Princess Bride, but not as much as Ember in the Ashes. That is saying a lot, and you need to believe it. You need to believe it. Go and read Harleen right now. It's incredible. Black Sun is also a really, really good book. It's inspired by pre-Columbian Americas and the tribes that are there. And you've got divergent stories that are going to meet each other, and the entire book is a countdown until convergence, and we're coming to the moment of convergence. I thought the book was phenomenal. I cannot wait to read more in the series. I cannot wait to read more from Rebecca Roanhorse. It's not S tier for me, but it is going to be near the top of A tier. Under Sinless Sins, under Catching Fire, under Kings of the Wild. There it is, Black Sun. Such a remarkable book. And then we're getting to a special time of the year where a lot of remarkable new titles came out. The first one was this novella, which really became a novel by Brandon Sanderson, a short novel called Dawnshard. I absolutely love it. Gave it 5 stars because that's what it deserves. But placed against these other books, where is Dawnshard going to fall? Dawnshard is a short story, so keep that in mind. It's above Reckless Oath. My A tier is massive. I loved it more than Invisible Life. And more than... This one's a hard one. It's my favorite short story that he's given us in this series so far. But you can't do much in a short story. You can't do much in a short story. I think this makes most sense right here. I'm going to place it above. I'm going to place it above. And I'm going to place it above. It's going to be right there under Rhythmatus, which is another Brandon Sanderson novel, but just above Black Axe, which is a Mouse Guard story. And then we come back to Reaper at the Gates, which is the back to the reread of An Ember in the Ashes series by Saba Tahir. This one was my least favorite of the series, and after a reread, I respected it a lot more, but it is still my least favorite, really, of the series as a whole. There's a lot of setup. It is a lot slower paced than the other books in the series. Where's the lowest one that I've got so far? So we've got Ember up here. Where's A Torch Against the Night? Eyes. Here it is, A Torch Against the Night. So this is probably going to go into the B. I'm going to have another in the B, which is going to give that a second level. Is it top of the B for me? Probably so. Did I like it more than the conclusion of Mockingjay? No. Or I didn't like it as much as the Blade itself. But I liked it better to sleep in a sea than to sleep in a sea of stars. I think that's where it is right now. Reaper at the Gates, the third book in the Ember Quartet. And then we did another classic, Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut. And it was okay. It was okay. It's a classic novel and it really feels like that. So it's going to fall into the C tier. I didn't like it as much as Testaments. Did I like it more or less than 2001: A Space Odyssey? That's what it's going to come down to. No. Not as much as Poppy War either. It's better than James and the Giant Peach. That's what we can say. Cat's Cradle is better than James and the Giant Peach. And then we've got Rhythm of War, which I'm not going to play around. It's straight to S tier. Where in S tier is the question. Rhythm of War is Brandon Sanderson's newest entry in the Stormlight Archive. It is now my favorite Stormlight Archive book. I did a spoiler-free and spoiler-filled review, which you can find on my channel. Do I like it more than Mistborn? Don't make me choose that. It really is up at the top, either first or second. I'm having to put Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn against Rhythm of War. Rhythm of War is patently better than, but this is which do I like better? Oh my gosh. Don't make me do this. Mistborn, The Final Empire. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to say Rhythm of War is the best book that Brandon Sanderson has ever written, but Mistborn, The Final Empire still has a special place in my heart and is going to remain at the first for now. Then we had the final fourth book in the Ember and the Ashes series come out, A Sky Beyond the Storm by Saba Tahir, and it is so good. We've got to find out where the other ones are. A Torch Against the Night. I think that I liked A Sky Beyond the Storm better than A Torch Against the Night. This is the way that you conclude a series. I didn't like it as much as Ember and the Ashes. I'm not going to place it in the S tier because I don't think that it deserves to belong there, but it is in the A tier, and I honestly think this is probably where I would drop it. Below the Hod King, above, woo, baby. Above Catching Fire. Wow. Where? It's right in here somewhere. We're going to do that. We're gonna put it back where it was, in between Hod King and Sin Innocence. Let's split up Josiah Bancroft, place Sky Beyond the Storm there. Great conclusion to an epic series. Elantris. I finally did it. I concluded the Cosmere by reading Brandon Sanderson's Elantris. Still one of my least favorite Cosmere novels. Still Brandon Sanderson, so it's still good. Where do we place it? It's in the C tier for me, and I liked it. Is it top of C tier? Yeah. Top of C tier. Still good. And then I had my mind blown by This Is How You Lose the Time War by two authors that were writing these conflicting letters and stories to each other. It's futuristic. The book doesn't make much sense for most of it, but it is a beautiful, beautiful read. It's going to go top of A. I don't think it is among my favorite now, and it's one that I'll remember and probably read back on, and it might even climb up the ladder some. I'm going to place it there. This Is How You Lose the Time War. No. That's where I'm placing This Is How You Lose a Time War, which is among my favorite books that I've ever read. Like, pretty much from Black Sun up, maybe even Alchemist up, those are some of the best books that I've ever read. Then we did two quick ones. I had heard really good things, I think even on the Goodreads, how every year they do rankings or ratings or whatever it is, best of. And I think that I saw this Beast Boy graphic novel. I didn't know much about the Teen Titans, but I read Beast Boy and Raven, two entries in this series, and liked them. They were fine. They were fun. They're not remarkable. The artwork is great. The storytelling and the dialogue is not the best. So they're going to go in the C tier. Beast Boy and Raven. Beast Boy and Raven. Under Jade City. Under Chosen Ones. Somewhere around here. And I think I liked Beast Boy a little bit more. Or did I like Raven a little bit more? I don't know. Maybe they're interchangeable. Beast Boy, Raven. We're just gonna leave it like that right there. Yeah, sounds good. Then I got for Christmas the graphic novel version of The Alchemist, which if you look up here, I have The Alchemist high up in A. Graphic novel was done remarkably well, but it doesn't add or contribute much. It just widens the audience. In fact, I'm going to put it in the B tier, but near the top of B tier. Yeah, that feels right. Above those two graphic novels, above To Sleep in a Sea of Stars for me, just because of how above Reaper at the Gates. I don't know. I'm going to leave it below Reaper at the Gates for right now. We've got two more. You still with me? Wake up. All Systems Red, short story, The Murderbot Diaries. Doesn't that sound amazing? It's all right. It's quick. It's good. It's nothing to write home about. Is it in C? It's not a bad book. I think bottom of B. Bottom of B. Maybe the series will get even better. Bottom of B. Does that make sense? Jade City. It needs to be below Jade City. That looks right. And then finally, The Glass Hotel. This is how we concluded the year 2020. Emily St. John Mandel. She wrote Station 11, which I absolutely loved, and I think I read it in 2018. This book was not as good. In fact, it is going to be low C, which means it's better than James and the Giant Peach and Cat's Cradle. It's probably something like that, honestly. All right, we're going to take a quick look at this, make any adjustments that we need to off camera, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the final picture. All right, I didn't change anything, actually. I think we kind of nailed it. I took off my camera so you could see the full screen. I know things are pretty small, but if you want to pause and take a look at my final lineup, then here you go. We won't go through all of them. I will just say my favorite books that I read in 2021 are the following. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson, Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson, The Rage of Dragon by Evan Winter, The Hunger Games, Bright We Burn, Ember in the Ashes, Harleen, the one graphic novel that's up there, and The Princess Bride. Okay, so that was a whole lot of books. Thank you if you stuck through with me. Thank you for watching all of the reviews over many of these books throughout the years. If you haven't yet, you can find a lot of these reviews on my channel. Let me know out of this list which ones are your standouts, your favorites from that list. And if there's any books that you think that I should make sure to include on my TBR list for 2021, then please drop that in the comments down below. And as always, thank you so much for watching and for liking this video. If you haven't yet, click subscribe, join the Dragon Army, and we'll see you in the next one.